What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 323 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast, Palindrome. My name is Lj.Lowery, and with me is Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
And Cody is going to be out for a few weeks, as we said before, and we'll be taking Halloween off since it's a Monday, and we'll all end up having plans anyway. But this week we are geeking out about Invincible, in video game form, and it's pretty exciting. Harrison Ford is almost assuredly joining the MCU at this point.
Which is so crazy.
And lastly, we're not necessarily geeking out about G4 shutting down, but more so the reply to the news from Gerard the Completionist.
Yep.
It's like, oof. But yeah, so we'll get to talking more in detail about those things. First, I want to put in here that we officially have a prayer section on our website. I believe it is geeksundergrace.com/prayer. Let me double check on that real quick. Which Cody has set up. So that way, if anybody's going through something and would like some prayer, and you don't even have to say what it is, but there's a whole awesome system we have on our website now where if you want some like-minded geeks to pray for whatever you're going through, you can post prayer requests. You can also get in there and also pray for others as well. So if you want to be a part of that, it's a really cool way to play a part in the community. So without further ado, Shelley, what have you been playing in video games this week?
So I haven't been playing really anything new. My husband and I are still playing Minecraft. It's still just, we're still into it, It's still kind of our calm down game, and we're kind of like building this castle, and we're getting it.
Nice.
So I don't really have anything more to say about that, but I mean, part of the reason I haven't really been playing any new games is because I haven't had a job in a little bit, but I actually just got a new job, so I'm actually really hyped that, whenever that first paycheck comes around,
congrats.
maybe I'll spend it on a new game or something just to treat myself. But I've been pretty proud of myself for like not buying any new games. Or I don't even mean, if I bought any games, they would have been on sale. But even now that I think on the top of my head, I don't think I bought like any game in a really long time. And I think the backlog golf chats actually helped a lot with that. I know we've mentioned it a couple times on this podcast, but some of us staff members have a chat in our workplace that, with the backlog golf thing, just really the mindset of trying to get through your backlog and trying your best to not play new games, get through the games you already own first. We have that little golf system. So if you beat a game play a game, beat a game.
My score has gone out the window.
Oh, yeah.
But the accountability is really what I like about it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome little group, and it actually spun off of another like community, and we've kept it going. Like I think they did it like 1 year, and we're going on like maybe 3 or 4 at this point.
Yeah, it's cool.
Maybe less, probably like 2. Maybe 3. I'm gonna say 3.
Yeah.
So
that's been
it's pretty cool.
It is cool. So that's been fun. I think I actually have played a little bit of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax actually too, especially because I did beat Persona 4 Golden, and technically it is a sequel. I haven't gotten through the actual story entirely yet.
Yeah.
Just because it is, of course it is, right? It's more that visual novel style that there is so much of in Persona, but I think because it's a fighting game.
More reading than fighting.
Right, that's what I mean. It's like, just because it's a fighting game, I think it's a little bit hard to get through, simply because part of me wants to just play the game. But I'm kind of like going through that bit by bit. I was sort of avoiding any story stuff in the game, or trying to, until I beat Persona 4 Golden. But again, now it's kind of free reign, and I've been just playing that a little bit again and again. I am still not very good at it, but I think it'd be really fun to play with maybe some other folks. And I know there's some local Smash community folks who also like to play the game. And it'd be really fun to play with them at some point, because I've never actually played with another person. Like, I haven't played online. I'm still not very confident in my skills at all. But I am.
I don't know if they've added rollback yet.
I think
so. I don't know if people are playing.
I think they did. At least I'm pretty sure they did, but there's no crossplay, unfortunately. So like I'm on Switch, and like I definitely know
segments the community.
Yeah, there's more PC players for sure. So but I got it on Switch so I could take it to Smash tournaments, for example, and so we could just like play it really quickly. So I don't really want all my efforts to be in vain per se, but I feel like they might be. But it's still fun. It's still fun to like ever so slowly get better at this game. But yeah, and I'm a Yosuke main for sure.
Nice.
He just feels
That's
the best
cool.
to me. So, but it is a cool game. I still like the game, and I'm glad I own it. It's just kind of sad that like no one really plays it.
Yeah. The production of it just feels so Atlas Persona.
Yeah.
And like with, you know, the arc system works, like what they're known for as far as gameplay. But it's like, it feels like it's gotten as much attention as like a full Persona game almost.
Yeah, there's a lot to go that goes into it. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. So what about you?
Cool. Alongside Overwatch 2, Overwatch 2 has just been my go-to game for a lot, and like I've been playing with friends and stuff, but it's one of those games where I can just like turn on for an hour and like listen to music and just wreck shop or like, go on a losing streak or whatever. It's just like my game where I just kind of step away from reality for a minute and just get some matches in. But the one that I tried the other day because I'm considering doing it for my own streams is called Midnight Ghost Hunt, and it's on Steam for $20. It's basically prop hunt, but one team is a squad of ghost hunters, and you have like assault shotgun. There's like a plasma gun kind of a thing. You can also have a radar to detect where ghosts are at, and then you can vacuum up the plasma. There's also like this riot shield style, like a melee, like ghost, you know, like ghost riot gear kind of a thing you can use to fight off ghosts. But it's a competitive multiplayer game too. Like, so the ghosts are like, I guess more people know what I mean by prop hunt, which I've never like played the original. Like,
I've watched so many people play it. It feels like I myself have played, but I haven't technically.
Right. Like I know the concept. So it's like it's basically that, but you play as a ghost, and the ghost has abilities too. Like so, and you have different like loadouts that you can do. So you can also you can hide in an object, and then you can also fling yourself at an enemy to like to stun them or to damage them. There's little things you can do, like little distract abilities, like, oh, let me make a cold spot, or let me, you know, the things that kind of like ghost hunting is kind of like known for, you know. But the whole point is that you have 5 minutes to either, like, as the hunters, you have 5 minutes to catch all the ghosts, and if you don't, all the ghosts revive and go into like a revenge mode where like they come out buffed, and you can basically attack and try to kill the hunters.
Ooh,
so it's
that's
like,
cool.
It adds like a sense of urgency, but also it's like, ooh, like you didn't get us all, so now we're coming for you, kind of a thing. It's cool. I played like a few matches. I don't know how big like the community is, but like I noticed I had more luck going into servers instead of hitting like quick play, because then whenever I hit quick play, I felt like I just got paired up with bots all the time. But it's fun. Like, I'm gonna look more into it and try more of it. But like, I like the competitive nature of it. Like, it just feels like kind of like almost a shooter. But it's also not like one of those asymmetrical like 4v something games. Yeah. So I feel like it's kind of the best of both worlds there.
Sweet. I love that.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna get into that and try it some more. So we'll get into the gaming news. We're keeping news fairly light today, but there are some fun stuff to talk about. The first, while we're in the spooky realm, Silent Hill is officially coming back in some way. I say in some way because Konami revealed that on the 19th, which I believe that this podcast will be up, so we'll know what all this is by the time this goes up. But they've announced the live stream, and it sounds like people are excited because people love, like, I guess people love Silent Hill. It was always
people
one of
love
those games
Silent
that,
Hill.
like,
yeah.
I remember playing a couple of them back in the day, but I never was like a huge fan. But it's exciting. I think PT also was a part of the kind of the cult, you know, the cult following.
Absolutely.
Too, because PT had that tease for Silent Hills, and that never came to be.
Yeah, that was like a cultural phenomenon. Like I remember I don't know if he still has it, but I remember like one of my friends like had PT installed, and then they took PT off the store, And he like tried to keep it as long as possible. And I don't know if it like uninstalled or like whatever, if he still has it or if he got rid of that Xbox or whatever it was on. But like that was like a thing where it was like important to, it was like, it's like Flappy Bird, right? It was like everyone had Flappy Bird, then they removed Flappy Bird. So if you had Flappy Bird on your phone, you're like not allowed to uninstall it because you can't get it back.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I remember PS4s were like, people were selling their PS4s
with PT
with it on there,
which is crazy because it's like, it's, I mean,
I don't know how that's gonna work if you buy it. You'd have to still be on somebody's account,
right? It's like crazy how it's like such a short, essentially demo. Like it's not even a full game; it's essentially a demo, but it got so popular because it was so well crafted and so well made, and had this promise of this, you know, future game to come with it, and the fact that it just didn't happen was so sad.
I remember not knowing what to do, and just because it's like a hallway, it's like a sequence of events that take place in a hallway.
Yeah, it's like a time loop kind of.
Laps. Yeah. So, and I just remember running laps through the hallway and not knowing like what to do. I'm just like, okay, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna delete this. I don't know what to do. So like, I missed the hype on that one, or I just didn't understand it at the time. I don't know that I was following like social media or like video game like sites that closely anyway to even know at the time. But yeah, it's exciting. So hopefully we'll get to see like, I think a remake of Silent Hill 2 would be really cool since that's like one of the most popular ones. But we'll have to see what that is. And then the next thing I think you and I are both probably more excited about is Skybound has officially announced that Invincible video games, there's an S in there, are in the works. They announced because of the 20th anniversary, I think there's like even like a tabletop game planned. There's comic book re-releases. They're going big with it, you know, since the show made it so popular.
Yeah. Oh man. It's so cool.
I guess the question I have here is, we don't know what it is yet, but I guess a good question is, what would you like to see out of an Invincible video game?
I think either a fighting game or...
Yes, that was my first choice.
I think a fighting game would be really really special. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to have more of an open world thing where you can fly around, but like I just don't really know how else it would like... I don't know. On one hand, I'm excited, but on the other hand, I also don't really know exactly what it would look like. You know, I don't really know what to expect, but I do know that games where you can fly around are very fun. And there's a lot of superhero games out there. Some are really good and some are really bad. So I just hope that this is one of the better ones, you know?
Yep. Yeah, because I think of like, well, I mean, he does get beaten to a pulp in the show kind of a lot.
Yep.
So this is like the one way you could make essentially a Superman game without having it be Superman. Because, like, the dude can take a beating. But I also think that it's got a huge cast of characters.
Yeah.
That, like, I think you would want to do a fighting game based on it. Like,
there's enough characters that you could have like cool, unique styles, and absolutely.
Yeah, because my first thought is like, ooh, let Arc System Works make it, because then they can get that cool animation style in there. Basically, like they did with Dragon Ball FighterZ, like they could totally do, and like Guilty Gear, they could totally do a cool animated one. I wouldn't want an arena fighter, but I could also see like some kind of arena fighter working too. Yeah, I'm right there with a fighting game though. I'm like, yes, because you want to play as those other characters, I think. And literally, I don't know if this is a spoiler at this point. Probably not because of memes, but Omni-Man can literally be one of the coolest fighting game bosses out there, I think.
Yes. But yeah, it's like you could play as any of the like knockoff Justice League, any of the knockoff Teen Titans. Yes. I mean, I would be so down.
I'd even want to play as the intergalactic like alien dude that he like meets and stuff like that. Like I think there's so many cool like characters you could do. Yeah. And then we're also getting like season 2 and 3 pretty soon as well. So like, it'll be the perfect time. So
yeah, I think so.
That is it for gaming. Like I said, we're gonna keep it pretty quick. So what have you been watching in movies?
Yeah, so I've actually watched just so many movies this month, way more than usual. I know I usually come to this podcast like, I didn't watch any movies, but I think this month I really wanted to commit myself to watching some more scary movies, which I did mention last week. I think I talked about American Psycho, but Since then, I watched a couple more with my husband. So we watched Psycho, like not American Psycho, just Psycho, like the older one.
Just Psycho.
Black and white movie. That one I really liked. That was a really good movie. I like that one a lot. We also watched Corpse Bride. Obviously kind of much more, a little more cheery, a little more corny, a little more silly. I like Corpse Bride though. I think I like Corpse Bride more than Nightmare Before Christmas, which I think is saying something. I think a lot of people, when it comes to like Tim Burton, claymation, animated kind of stuff, like people really, really like The Nightmare Before Christmas. But I like Corpse Bride. I mean, it's not perfect. And for me, it's like when it comes to like, especially spooky claymation, Coraline is still top tier. Like I love Coraline. Oh yeah,
Coraline is so good.
But I like Corpse Bride, and my husband had never seen it, so we watched that.
Corpse Bride, I feel like that one gets forgotten a lot.
And it's just so funny
so that's good.
How it's like it's still Tim Burton, and it's still Helena Bonham Carter, and it's still wow. Yeah. Why am I forgetting his name? How is this possible? Why is it impossible? Freaking Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
We just talked about him so much on the podcast when he was going through his stuff. Why am I forgetting his name?
That's funny.
Johnny Depp? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't realize Johnny Depp and I think I knew Helena Bonham Carter was the girl, but I didn't realize Johnny Depp was the guy.
I kind of forgot about that myself, so I'm like,
it's just so funny.
I guess he was.
Like they're just in every Tim Burton movie. It's hilarious. But anyway,
pretty much.
So that's a good one. We also watched The Shining. We actually watched that last night. That one's a weird movie. I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't necessarily know if I enjoyed it or not. I guess I'm glad I watched it because it's a classic, but there was just so much like the music was like escalating and being like and like trying to like amp up to this like scare, you know, got the high pitched strings which like kind of hurt my ears, which, you know, probably is done on purpose, and then like nothing happens, and like it does that for the whole movie until the very like end essentially, and I'm like, okay. I honestly like, I feel like a lot of these scary movies, at least these older ones, are actually just funny to me. Like they're just funny, but maybe that's just how I cope with scary things.
It's like so hard too, especially like I guess what you're saying is like it's almost like not like a false sense of dread or like intensity.
Yeah,
but it's like they definitely try like very hard.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, it's so scary, and it's so scary. Yeah. Then no, nothing scary is happening, so I'm not scared. Like I'll only be scared if I actually see something scary. You know, like if I see there's a threat, and I'm like, oh, okay, so now there's reason to be scared, and like now you can have the music go with it if you want, but. That's a weird movie. Yeah, again, I'm not necessarily sure if I liked it or not, but I am so glad I watched it, I guess, because it is such a classic. And it's so funny how, especially with these older movies, classics are like, especially with like American Psycho I already talked about, but this movie too, like there's so many references that are made to these movies.
Oh yeah.
So many. And it's like I knew these references, like I knew they were from this movie, but I didn't understand the references. I didn't, you know, having not watched it. So now it's like, oh, I understand the references. Cool. I'm glad for that, but I also feel like a lot of people try to make like The Shining into like, oh, like has this really deep meaning. I'm like, I mean maybe, but like in the end it's about just a guy who went crazy and like tried to kill his family. So I don't know. That's already scary itself. Like, oh, it's a creepy hotel. Oh, that's already scary in itself for me. So that's enough. But yeah. So I watched those three. I don't know if I mentioned watching Haunted Mansion. We did watch that, but I think I may have. Oh, nice. I don't remember if I talked about that already, but my husband had never seen it, so with Eddie Murphy, that's a good one.
That's a good one too. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, so it's just like kind of like trying to keep the like we're watching the kind of scary things, nothing gory, just because we really don't like watching gore. Like so many modern horror movies and thrillers are. Yes. Like Hereditary, for example, or Gorefest. Like so many of them are like legitimately like gory or just not something I want to watch. It's like I'd rather watch something suspenseful where they do an off-screen kill or just like, oh, that person's just dead now. It's like it's not anything like super gory or weird. Or like intensively creepy. Again, it's like kind of the mental suspense is a little more interesting to me than like crazy supernatural whatever. for the most part. But yeah, we're trying to balance that with like the sort of corny, cheesy Halloween stuff, which is why we watched Corpse Bride and Haunted Mansion.
You're kind of like cleansing your palate in between.
Exactly. Kind of keeping the fun, like kind of the fun, corny Halloween energy, not just on the like creepy stuff. So I think tonight or sometime this week we're gonna watch Hocus Pocus or maybe Frankenweenie or like some other like sort of more cheesy and corny Halloween.
Yeah, to balance it out.
Yeah, I know what's on our list. We still want to watch Night of the Living Dead and Parasite. So Parasite would be like probably the newest one that we've watched, right? Like, because Parasite's fairly recent in comparison to all these other movies. But
that one is like an award-winning movie.
Yeah, and I've been meaning to watch it like ever since it came out and ever since it got awards. I was like, oh, I should watch this movie. I just never got around to it. So I'm like, and this is a good excuse too. So but yeah, so. That's how that's going. That's all the movies I'm watching. Yeah.
That's awesome. I did not watch any movies. I've been slacking in.
I'm just making up for you.
No, pretty much. Like, I have a list. Like, I want to watch Werewolves Within, which is, like, apparently a really good movie that was somehow tied to, like, a video game.
Oh, wow.
And then Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is a movie that I've heard multiple people recommend to me last year, and I just haven't got around to it, so... I'm probably going to try to watch those in the next couple weeks before Halloween because like I've been slacking. So
heck yeah.
Yeah, I got some makeup work to do. Anyway, we can move on to movies though. So
yeah, no problem.
What's going on in the news?
So we don't have any like huge movie news so far, but already mentioned at the top of the show in our highlights. So Harrison Ford is almost definitely going to be in the MCU. It's like I think confirmed or at least almost confirmed at this point. So
it's like. Let's see. Hollywood Reporter, I believe, was like a big...
Yeah, I think they confirmed it.
Yep.
And it's like, he's going to be Thunderbolt Ross. And I think he's going to be showing up the next Captain America movie. So that's all very interesting. I just like, I'm curious to see like how his acting will be just because I feel like Harrison Ford's a guy who like I don't know, maybe it's just because I watched all the Star Wars movies and he was so clearly not interested in being back in Star Wars, even though we all love his character of Han Solo. He just like it was very obvious he did not really want to be there. He didn't really care about it that much, and I mean, he got killed off pretty early on in those later movies. Anyways, what I mean. And we all know he loves Indiana Jones. Like, he's very passionate about that. So I'm just curious to see how back in a Disney franchise. Actually, is Indiana Jones considered Disney? It is? Okay.
It's Lucas. It's Lucas owned. Yep, Lucas
just like Star Wars. Okay, then maybe it doesn't matter. I was gonna say I'd be curious to see just like him back under a big Disney franchise, but I guess technically Indiana Jones is one now.
Indiana Jones isn't, I feel like, as big of a franchise as the other two.
I would agree.
So I think my curiosity is like, how much of a long haul is he in for, if at all? Like, it could be one of those things where we do actually get Red Hulk as a character or a villain. And he maybe just gets killed off just as quickly as he did in Star Wars. And then, so it's like, that's where, I mean, I love the idea. I think it's awesome. Like, I want to see Harrison Ford Hulk out.
Yeah.
I think that would be that would be really cool.
Yeah, totally.
But I just don't know. I heard another idea that to bring in Sam Elliott from, like, the original Hulk movie, which was not good either.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That was a weird movie.
Like the Eric Bana one. But they could literally... I mean, like, I feel like Sam Elliott, that dude's going to keep acting until he's dead. So I feel like he would have been more excited to reprise that role. But I'm also down with Harrison Ford. I just think his time might be limited on, like, that role. So,
yeah.
That's where I'm at with it.
Heck yeah. But yeah, so that will be... yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see if Harrison Ford's, like, super into it. Or, it could be that he's just, like, a one... movie sort of deal, or maybe 2 movies at most. Probably not a huge commitment or anything, but it's just, once again, MCU collecting their Infinity Stones of famous actors and actresses like crazy. They gotta pick up another one.
Would Harrison Ford be the Soul Stone then if he doesn't last?
Maybe. You might be right. It's I just insane number of famous celebrities and actors and actresses that have been in the MCU is
actually
baffling.
That feels terrible to say since we did lose William Hurt, so that's kind of
that's kind of
messed up.
Not. Yeah. Oops.
I didn't think about that.
Definitely not meant in. Yeah. That's fine.
Ouch.
I could just move on. That's okay. Let's just move on. So we do have one other news piece here. Again, it's not crazy huge, but it can be if you're a big sort of like Rocky and Creed fan. So Creed 3 posters are out, and kind of just showing off the new antagonist. It's Jonathan Majors is the actor, so yes. I know he is Kang for again those like me who only really ever watch MCU stuff for as much as I dog on that thing. But it looks cool. So I know the first couple of Creeds were pretty popular.
Yeah, and I think it's almost one of those things where it's like, I feel like the Cobra Kai thing probably should happen with Creed, where it's like people watch the Creed movies, and then I think maybe that might have them interested in going, oh, well, let me go back and watch some of the Rocky movies.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think that would be neat for like, especially people who like never watched a Rocky movie, you know, to go and watch those first and then go back.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good like take on, you know, I kind of get annoyed when, generally speaking, Hollywood tries to like dig some old franchise up from the grave, kind of like that annoys me. But I always really like, again, like what Cobra Kai has done and what Creed has done. Even if I haven't watched Creed, I already can tell like they're doing like, oh yes, it's in the same universe, and yes, there's some connections here, but it's like it's a twist. It's moving on to the next generation. It's moving on to this other protagonist. We're not having the same exact protagonist. We're doing something else with it. And having the same sort of energy and heart as the original. Like, I think that's still really cool. Like, it's annoying when it's like the same protagonist, or like, oh, it's the same type of thing, or all the same actors as before, in a kind of distasteful way. That can be annoying, but I like this sort of passing on the mantle. These passing on the mantle stories that, again, like this, like Creed and like Cobra Kai, for example. I just think those are good examples. So, for those who are, you know, like Creed, or just like boxing movies, you know what? Pick it up. Go check it out. It's Michael B. Jordan, right? He's the main character. So
he's awesome.
And
the thing that I feel is a bit, I don't know if we ever talked about it on here, but I think there's actually like I don't know if it's a show or something, or a spinoff, but there's supposed to be a Drago spinoff about Ivan Drago, the villain from Rocky IV.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't know if it's about, because I think his son or somebody, I haven't seen the second one yet, was the villain for the second one. So, but then I remember hearing something about Sylvester Stallone being upset that like he wasn't aware that, like, I don't know if they had to get his permission or what, but he was upset that like they were like milking it. So I know we tend to talk about how dirty Hollywood can be in some of their decisions that they make.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if we need that, and maybe you should have checked with Sly first. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Since he was like since he basically wrote the original Rocky, and that's the only reason Creed is a thing. So, yeah. But yeah, Hollywood's still gonna Hollywood.
I know, and even speak about that. I even looked up after The Shining. I was like looking up, what the movie means, and like explained. I tend to do that after movies. Even MCU, maybe that's what trained my brain of like, what does this mean? What's the theories? But Doctor Sleep came out just a couple years ago, and it's a sequel to The Shining. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I should watch it. But also, I've
heard that's really good.
I think it's also probably not as bad because Dr. Sleep is actually another Stephen King novel that is also a sequel to The Shining. So it's really not like we're bringing this back from the grave. It's more like we actually have another Stephen King story we can tell here, and it has Ewan McGregor. So like I might watch it, but even then I was kind of like, of course they brought this back, in 2019 after 30 years almost, right? It's crazy. But anyway, that's just one thing I was reminding myself of. And maybe I'll watch it. I don't even know what's on, but maybe. That's our movie news though, so we can move on.
All right, cool. Let's see.
What have you been watching?
Did you watch?
You can go first this time.
Okay, yeah. I can't say much about She-Hulk, obviously, but I find it funny that we got into a conversation about meta humor last week, and I think I literally titled the podcast something about when meta humor goes too far.
Yeah.
And She-Hulk goes hard into meta humor in the finale.
Oh man.
But it's very interesting. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'll have to, if you ever get around to watching it, I'll have to see what you think about it, because it's wild. So I can't say much about it, except I think overall, if I was to give like my final thoughts on the show, I think haters are gonna hate, and there's a lot of people that I don't think were ready for what kind of show She-Hulk was. Because the last couple of episodes, especially the one before that, everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is the best episode. Because it did have the most of like the superhero action, comedy, banter, and things like that. And so I think that second to last episode was the episode they knew people would want. And then they did the 9th episode, the finale, just to be like, okay, here's the one for you guys, here's one for us. Kind of.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I like it, though. I think there are a couple episodes that are just kind of like, not that nothing happens, but you kind of go, okay, like, all right. But at the end of the day, it still does give off that sitcom kind of vibe.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, and then I guess the other thing, it doesn't really pertain to anything geeky really, but people can geek out about sports too. I've been getting into a lot of college football the last couple weeks, which has been fun. And I will say this, I think, just for people who, I don't know, like, the NFL is obviously the most popular thing, but I think watching college football is way more fun than the NFL.
I would agree for the most part. Usually college sports I just care more about.
These teams want it more, these players want it more because they're looking to make it to the big time anyway. Yeah. But it was specifically, like, the Alabama versus Tennessee game that it was like crazy. It was one of those things I watched it at work part way through, and we're like, oh, okay. We're like, this game is gonna. We're like Tennessee's gonna win. And then later on, after I get home from work, after I nap and stuff, it turns out this game is like almost in 50 points, and like people doing, like they just don't care. Like they're gonna go for it on 4th down when they've absolutely no reason to. Watching the fans, especially the fans and energy in the stadium, I think is really fun. They get so wild. So after Tennessee won, they had fans literally pick up the goalpost out of the stadium and carry it through the hallway out of the stadium and go through the streets and throw it in the river.
My gosh. Sports fans are crazy.
It was like awesome. This is like, because they won by a field goal because the other team missed the field goal. Tennessee won. And it was just one of those things that, like, to me, it's like, oh, well, yeah, they're going to send that thing to heaven or Valhalla or whatever. They're going to send it on its way because if that was to ever happen again, they'd probably miss it. So, and everybody's like, well, this thing's done now. It's served its purpose. Yeah. Or if you use it again, it's a curse, kind of a thing. So I'm like, I get it. I'm like, they actually did get fined for throwing it in there. But I'm like, well, that's a fine worth paying because that was fun to watch.
That's really funny.
I love the energy of college sports. And then it's funny because we're also like doing fantasy football, like a couple of us on Geeks Under Grace. So it's like I've just been really into sports.
I know. I have been passively following Mariners because, them being the first time in the playoffs for so long. But unfortunately they're already out. So like that was the most invested I've been in, like, well, I don't even really get that invested in college sports anymore either, but like, so like really any sports, like especially professional sports, like that's like the most invested I've been in a really long time. Yep. Like I always had some family member watching the game, so I never really needed to. Like and I actually went to like a little Oktoberfest event, and they had the game on, and we won that game, which was cool. Fun. But it was really funny because I was just trying to like go up and get some food. I accidentally, and I even intentionally tried to like not get in front of the screen, but I was already a little bit in front of the screen. They're just like, move! And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, sports is something else.
Yep. No, it's just that time of year, I think. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Watching college stuff is like, oh, this is way better. This is way more fun. The energy's way more fun. So
Yeah, easily.
That's what's been consuming my attention. I still need to watch Lord of the Rings, which I think just finished.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was gonna.
And then I need to watch Andor. But yeah, go ahead and talk about Lord of the Rings then, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So I finished it, and obviously I'm not gonna say anything out of spoilers, but a lot of people don't like the show, and you know what? That's fine. But I like the show, so
that's how I feel about
show.
Yeah, I'm like, like what you
exactly.
like.
It's like I'm not gonna get mad at people getting mad per se because, you know, for the most part, I think they probably have good points. And again, like if I was way more invested in like the lore of Lord of the Rings, for example, maybe I'd be a little bit more upset about things. But I don't know that, and it's a very, very pretty show, and I really liked a lot of the characters. Like, without spoiling anything, like I just really, really love Elrond. Like, I just think he's one of my favorite characters in the show at the very least, and it's really making me even more appreciate him in later Lord of the Rings, because I think I know some people think that there's like some disconnect between some of the characters in this show versus the characters as they show up in Lord of the Rings. It's like, oh, they can't be the same character because et cetera, et cetera. But I'm like, I don't know, man. Elrond really fits because like he acts very different, but there's a turning point, right? And we know what the turning point is. We've seen it in Lord of the Rings. Like when he's going up and Isildur, you know, he's like, put the ring in the fire. He's like, no, you know, like that's the very first scene in the very first Lord of the Rings. That's not spoilerish. So I think it's really cool to see Elrond before that moment, right? So long before that moment.
You get to see those characters develop,
yes.
You know, like so many years earlier, and you understand why the way they are.
Yeah, you know, especially like, you know, elves, like it's crazy because it's like looking at elf culture is so interesting because it lasts so long. They live essentially forever, like almost forever. So,
yep.
I don't know.
And they basically explain some stuff that like I feel like doesn't get explained well in the movies either.
Yeah.
Like especially in the first 2 episodes. I'm like, oh, okay.
I agree.
You know, like so I'm like, all right. Like it to me it adds to like what we already have, in my opinion. At least what I've seen.
Yeah. As someone whose only lore comes from watching the movies and having read The Hobbit once. You know, it's a long time ago. I don't really even remember it that much, but like I appreciate the expanse on lore in this. And granted, is it accurate to the Silmarillion? I don't know, but I think it's still cool nevertheless. And so yeah, overall I still really like it. I think there's some writing choices that are kind of like, huh? But like overall, I'm still having a good time. So that's kind of how I feel about it. It's not perfect, but I'm having a good time. So yeah, I finished that. I also finished Cobra Kai.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I like Cobra Kai. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good show. It's so over the top at times, though. Like, it's so over the top. And that ending was ridiculous. And
yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think that's what Cody's wife Tia was like screaming about a couple weeks ago. I think.
It's kind of ridiculous. And I feel like I still feel like everyone that show's really dumb though. Like, or if not dumb, at least like evil. It's like I don't like. It's weird because it's like there's so many characters where I'm just like, oh, I don't like what you're doing. I wish you wouldn't do this thing. It's kind of weird.
And the way the finale stuff happens is still ultra stupid.
Yeah.
Because it's like y'all didn't learn anything. Like,
I know.
I mean, you did, but then you still go and be stupid.
Yeah. I still like a lot of the character development that's happening for the most part, and I like a lot of the direction things are, you know, going. But I think there's some things where I'm just like, man, like again, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to be spoilery. But there's some things where I'm just like, man, like, do we have to do this again? Like, come on, like, can we have some improvement in this way, please? But I still really like the show so far, and I will continue to keep watching for sure. I just love Johnny Lawrence. He is like, again, like no matter how frustrated I am with any other character in the show, I will always be in Johnny Lawrence's corner. He is always going to be my favorite character in that show. Like, hands down, I love him. He is wonderful.
I feel like he had the most character. He had the biggest change this season.
I love it.
As far as the character development.
That's what I mean. It's like, I'll be so frustrated at even other scenes will come up. I'm just like, man, like, I don't care about this. Like, or man, I'm frustrated with this. Or like, hey, can we get over this? But then it's like Johnny Lawrence shows up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love this.
He's still gonna do what Johnny wants to do, you know, as far as the way he acts. But like, I thought like he had the like best character development.
Absolutely,
like,
I think you're right.
As far as anybody
throughout the whole show, honestly, like even from start of season 1, episode 1, all the way to season 5, I'm like, that man has grown, and I love it. It's so cool.
It makes sense because it is his show.
Yes, it is. Like, he is definitely the protagonist. But anyway, I don't really know. I don't want to talk too more about it because I don't want to like accidentally spoil anything. But anyone out there who's still kind of like, this is like what is this show worth it? I'm like, I think it's worth it. I think you should watch it personally.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like you have to preface. When you tell somebody to watch it, it's ultra stupid and it's ultra cheesy, but you have to.
It's true. You do have to have that mindset. You can't
can't help but enjoy it. Yeah. Like it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%. But I think that's all I've been watching.
Sweet. All right. Yep, me as well. Have nothing there to add. So yeah, let's get into some TV stuff. The first one, not the biggest news, but I think it's kind of neat that Percy, as far as the new, everybody's kind of getting like pumped up a little bit, and like the more we see of Percy Jackson as a show, there was a teaser, and we're kind of learning more bits and pieces about it. But
people love Percy Jackson, man.
Oh yeah,
especially I don't know, maybe. Yep. I feel like especially my generation. I feel like my generation, a lot of people grew up reading. You know, a lot of people obviously grew up reading like Harry Potter, but like so many people grew up reading Percy Jackson, and like I didn't, so it's like I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah, like I remember I never read it, but I bought one of the books. I bought like the first book, and I just never got that into it. But I definitely know people that do.
People are pretty passionate about it, especially after how bad the movies were. They're just like, this is our time for redemption. Yes. This is our chance.
Yep. So the news here is that Adam Copeland, who goes by the name of Edge, he's the wrestler. He is going to play Ares, the god of war, not Kratos, the god of war. Yes. Ares, the god of war, in Percy Jackson. He basically made a tweet that shows a chair that says Ares on it and said "God of War" #Percy Jackson. I think that's kind of neat. Like, I kind of, after seeing like the success of like, you know, people like John Cena and stuff like that, get into get into acting, because like wrestling's cool and all, but like I feel like it's neat that they can expand their career and their range by acting. So I know he's been in a couple other things. Like I think he was even in Vikings. I saw. But the dude's been around with small roles here and there, and so I think it'd be neat for him to get something that's a bit bigger like this. As he does more. That's an actor. That's a guy I remember seeing when I was really young, watching wrestling. Mm-hmm. His first appearance I remember was it was Edge, Christian, and another guy that used to go by Gangrel, and they were these like vampire guys or whatever. Oh. And so they used to come in and like this red like pyrotechnic stuff, and a lot of stuff they did was like involved like blood and everything. Like, so it was just funny seeing like thinking of the first time I saw this wrestler. I'm like, oh yeah, like he was totally like this vampire character and everything, and like that was like the Attitude Era when Undertaker was all like darkness mode too and everything. But I think it's cool. Like I want to see this dude pop up in more stuff. So yeah, that's exciting. More news about Percy Jackson, I think, is good news as we get closer to that coming out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next piece of news, I think it's pretty significant because G4 is shutting down. It's only been like a year since it came out.
I think it's been less than a year.
Oh,
I think it has, right. Which is crazy. Like,
less than a year after it launched. I think the headline says right there.
Oh, man. Depressing.
Dang, yeah.
What's even more depressing is like they're shutting down, just wasn't popular enough, wasn't the revenue they were getting. They released a little thing on Twitter, or they released a statement that was posted to Twitter. The kicker for me,
and Comcast.
Yeah, Comcast, right? Like the kicker for me, honestly, is there's a response to one of those tweets from Gerard the Completionist saying, "Hey, this is how I found out I lost my job. Awesome!" Like,
I didn't even see that initially until you mentioned it, and I went to look at this article, and I'm like, ouch.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's rough.
And I just feel like that's like such a trend now. I feel like I've seen so many companies or projects or things being, shut down, and they just announce it publicly first instead of like telling the people who it's actually going to affect, which is so weird. It's like they're like, oh, well, we got to let everyone know now. It's like, no, you should probably let your employees know. You should probably let your anyone who's working under you, like anyone who's getting affected in that way first, and then you could publicly post about it. It's like maybe they're upset, maybe they're scared that like those ex-employees would blab about it first, but like I don't think so. I'm just annoyed. I feel like I've seen this happen a lot recently.
The most recent example is the Batgirl.
Exactly.
Those directors found out at one of their wedding, at one of them's weddings. Like it's
just so disrespectful too. It's like if you don't even have the respect to talk to your employees and be like, hey, this isn't about you. Like you did a great job. Like it's just something else that we've had to do, and like we have to make this unfortunate decision because otherwise, like they have no closure, right? It's like, were they not good enough, or was it all out of their control? Like they owe them at least that decency, I would think, but I don't know. It's kind of upsetting.
And like, and it's still a bummer. Like for me, like I saw this coming. I remember I probably even said it on the podcast. Like, we're in a whole different era than when the original G4 was out, because when the original G4 was out, we didn't have streaming. We didn't have
exactly.
I think YouTube wasn't even a thing yet. Probably no, it wasn't yet because I remember like. And then Justin TV, before it even became Twitch, I remember seeing like the original dude on like Attack of the Show or something. But now we have people making their own content that's just like this. I mean, Gerard is one of them, like, so it's just like, I guess like to have it in, like, I think if they maybe brought it back just as like some kind of YouTube channel or something, or some kind of like live thing, it wouldn't have mattered. But the fact that it was coming back as a cable network again, I was like, man, there's just no way this is gonna last.
For sure. The audience has turned to other options. You already mentioned Twitch. You already mentioned like YouTube. Like there's
YouTube is like, there's so much attention drawn to YouTube. Like even I don't watch YouTube nearly as like kids do these days.
I watch a lot of YouTube. It's me.
Yeah, and see, I know there's people that do. I mean, even then, there's people that do. There's people that watch stuff regularly and weekly. Yeah. There's people that probably watch more YouTube than TV these days.
Absolutely, especially because it is free.
So it's just... Yeah, and it's like, I've seen some of G4's content on TikTok. I know they're doing TikToks. Mm-hmm. I mentioned earlier before the show that I watched a review of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. It was an X-Play review with the Completionist, and that's probably the only G4 YouTube video I've ever watched since they've been back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is kind of odd. This is weird. Yeah, I think it is a bummer, because it's like it would have been awesome if they did succeed. I don't think their original content when G4 was out back in the day was particularly good anyway. Like, I used to watch the shows just mainly for like gameplay video and stuff like that. It was nice to watch it, not like on a webpage. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like the acting and the presentation and whatever it is that
the audience used to be there, but at least for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, the audience was there back in the day, and then I think they became like, and they faded away. But now this is like, you don't have the audience there anymore. They've moved on. Technology has moved on, really. Yep. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of was it Quibi? Was that like that free little streaming service?
Wow, and that was even worse. Quibi.
That was another one where we're like, this is probably gonna close shop soon.
Yep, and I think and then COVID kind of attributed to that one, because that was like, oh, you can watch this on a train ride or a bus ride.
Yeah.
And like, nope, people weren't going on rides; they were staying at home.
Yep.
So, Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy to see that come and go so soon. Like, I never expected it to be this soon, and it is. So, yeah. That's it though. That's it for G4. But at least we know, like, Gerard the Completionist, we know he's still making content, and he can still go do his thing, which is also cool. Which is also kind of cool.
Is good. It's
like,
just
he's like
that's just an extra.
I did lose my job.
Exactly, that's some extra income that you thought you could rely on, and it's just gone. And no decency, like literally just knowing from a tweet, disrespectful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, straight up. People shouldn't find out about the status of their jobs through tweets.
It's like getting laid off, but it's like even worse because the entire thing just goes down.
It's like getting laid off and reading a group text that you're not on the schedule or something.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
it's like not even finding out from your boss. You find out from something else, and you're like, wait, what? Yeah. You find out because your key doesn't get you in the building. That kind of thing. Like, that's the only way. It's awful.
Ouch. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how to end on there except for, Gerard, keep making content. The Completionist is one of the few, like, YouTubers, like, I've watched semi-regularly, so, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for the show today, unless you have anything else you're geeking out about.
Nope, that's it for me.
Same. Just excited for Gotham Knights and Call of Duty stuff to come out next week.
Yeah.
But I will be talking about that then. So, all right. That's about it. Shelley, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at LJ the Paladin. And also, if you want to see photos from Cody's adventures, you can find Cody at Cody Armour on Instagram, because I believe he is going to a big Ren fair in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, he'll definitely be posting stuff.
Yes, so that's why I threw it in there. I'm sure he'd be happy for people to go check that stuff out. So, so that'll do it, and see y'all next week. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.
It's on.